Hey there, Twins fans. My name is Seth Stoas of Twins Daily, twinsdaily.com, welcoming you to another edition of Twins Spotlight. Normally we do these in the off season, but it's kind of fun to do them in season, and especially after the draft was just last week, it's kind of fun to hopefully get in contact with some of the 2025 Twins draft picks, get to know them a little bit before they even start their careers, and just and hopefully get to know them again beyond the back box score, beyond the stat lines, things like that. Let's get to know them as people. So for this episode, I want to encourage you to go to Twins Daily, check out the site, check out the draft tracker. We'll get into some of that. But our guest for tonight, or for this show, and again, if you're watching live, please feel free to send in questions if you have any, or just simply send congratulations to our guest. And that is, let me get it here on there. 9th round pick from Elon University. His name is Justin Mitrovich. He is a right-handed pitcher. And interestingly enough, the Twins went back-to-back with Elon players, taking not only his teammate Ryan Sprock in the 8th round. I believe I heard that they're actually roommates. So without further ado, let's bring in the star of this episode of this show, Justin Mitrovich. Justin, first, thank you very much for joining. Congratulations. Let's go to that night. What was that morning or afternoon, what was going through your mind the day of the draft? What were you kind of hearing? Was this where you expected to go?
Well, yeah, just want to start off by first saying thanks for having me on the show, and I really appreciate we working out of time to do this, and I just wanted to say thanks for that. And yeah, so about the draft day, definitely anxious. Right as it started off, like when it started off in the 4th round, I got my angst going a little bit, and then as the rounds went along, kind of cooled off a little bit, and then when my roommate got drafted next to me in the round prior, my angst kind of shot up a little bit more. So it was kind of an up and down a little bit. But no, overall, it was like a really cool experience. A little hectic, like when it does happen. But you're kind of just doing that waiting. You're just waiting like up until that point, and then it kind of just happens so fast. And so, but it was a really cool experience getting my name called.
What were the logistics? I mean, were you just sitting around with friends and family waiting, or, I mean, that's such a long stretch. You just have no idea what's going to happen. Kind of what was the day like as far as, people around you, your family, things like that?
Yeah. So I had my core family. I had my brother, I had my parents with me, and then a lot of my teammates showed up as well. Which was great because I had my roommate Sprock, who also was there with his family. And then I had a couple of my teammates to, be there for us. And it was just like a really heartwarming kind of group. And it was really fun overall.
All right. That's fantastic. Let's go back. Let's have some fun with it. Well, let's first start Ryan Sprock, 8th round pick, third base. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on him? And like I said, I think you were roommates, actually. You came together, at Elon as freshmen. And what's that journey been like?
It's been super unique. I mean, we were freshman roommates, and we were also roommates the following 2 years after that. But we were paired together my freshman year, and then we lived together off campus the second year. And then we got another lease for our house. So, we were able to stretch that one house to another year. And so we lived together for 3 years. Player wise, he hit me pretty good this last fall. And, that's unfortunate because, it's back and forth a lot. But no, he's a really good player. And, I was really happy to see that he's getting an opportunity to play at the next level.
We'll talk a little bit more about, your upcoming professional career. I know you head down to Fort Myers hopefully soon, and can get the business side of things taken care of. I guess I want to go back in time. You grew up, I believe, in Pennsylvania, graduated, played high school ball in Pennsylvania. What was your first kind of baseball memories? What was the backyard or little league, or let's start with the early days?
Yeah, the first back I remember is, T-ball or coach pitch. But I remember doing that a good bit, and it really like I started getting way more into it when I was about 8 or 9 or 10, and that's when I kind of fell in love with it more and stuck with it. And then once I got to middle school, I started training a little bit more for it, and I was playing some other sports at the time as well. But then once I hit about my sophomore year of high school, I was just mainly baseball, and then just played sports off to the side for fun.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about those other sports that you played. Did you play into high school, or at what point did kind of baseball become your go-to sport?
Yeah, so baseball is honestly mostly my go-to sport, but I did end up picking up basketball around seventh or eighth grade. And I played my eighth grade year, but then I also played ninth grade year for high school. And then I decided to stop pursuing that and just focus on baseball. But I would still play pickup basketball, volleyball in my free time during high school. So I was still, playing multiple sports, just not like at the high school or super high competitively. Um, but no, it was mostly baseball focused, but I definitely mixed in a couple other ones, and then I started picking up golf like not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, if you talk to a lot of pitchers in the Twins organization, they get a day off, they're all golfing. So we'll
Yeah.
see how your golf game compares
Yeah.
now to maybe a year or two from now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right. So, did you go to a big school, small school? Was your team a good high school team, or did you kind of stand out a little bit on your team?
Well, yeah. So our high school is definitely bigger on the bigger end. It's a public 6A school in Pennsylvania, so we have anywhere from about 3,500 to 4K, depending on how big the classes are. So we putting together a really good team. There's a lot of guys who are playing in the Division One level now, and my teammate from high school also got drafted this year by the Twins. So from high
Who was
school,
that?
Callan Fang.
Oh, okay. You went to Harvard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I played with him in my high school.
Harvard.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty bright, pretty bright. But
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, but so we actually had a really good high school team, and a couple of my friends I still talk to this day. Like I have one playing at App State, a couple at Pitt, / Georgia Tech, and then one at Stony Brook and Washington
Okay.
College out in Maryland. So a whole bunch everywhere. And then there's some
Yeah.
kids like even that are going to Virginia now. So we got a whole
Sure.
bunch of people.
No, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what was it about Elon that made that the choice for you? It's maybe not one of the more big names as far as college baseball, but it is always a program that's in or very near kind of that top 20, top 25 range. What was it for you that made that the right choice? I'm assuming you had some other opportunities as well.
Yeah, I had a few other ones, but it was really the coaching staff at the end of the day. It seemed like they had a lot of interest in me when I was going through the recruiting process. I really got along with the pitching coach my freshman year there, and I still talk to him to this day. And so we built a really good relationship right off the bat. And then they were all super welcoming. And once I went and visited, they were just it just felt like the right place to be. And like I said, that relationship building with the pitching coach was the start of it. I think you're muted a little bit.
It's amazing that I made it this far into one of these without doing that. But I need to go back real quick. I meant to ask you this. Is your high school baseball coach, was it Joe Pesci?
Yeah, it is.
Did he ever call you guys Utes or anything like that? Or was it
No, I don't. Not that I recall.
Tell me a little bit about your high school coaches.
Oh, they were all great, honestly. I mean, Pacey, he definitely yells at times, but for me personally, that doesn't really bother me, and so I took it as a good way. And then once you get to college, like it just varies. There's going to be some intense situations because that's their job, and then they're trying to win games, and so I think he put like a good. I feel he coached well in high school and prepare you for college. That kind of sort of thing. And then the other coaches were great. I mean, the pitching coach there was great. The assistant was there, was great. all just really good humans, really good people, and I had a great time.
So that sounds great. Again, we're on with Justin Mitrovich. He is a right-handed pitcher. The Twins drafted him just last week out of Elon University in the 9th round. Um, I do want to ask some more pro questions, but I do want to also say you jumped right into Elon and you were in that starting rotation right away. Was that part of your decision in going there, or what was your transition like, maybe physically, mentally, emotionally, jumping from the high school ranks to college?
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit faster pace, but it wasn't too bad of an adjustment for me personally. For me personally, going into college, I just wanted the opportunity to play, and I felt like Elon gave me a really good shot to be able to do that. I remember my coach telling me one of the first couple of days we were there, he was saying, "Don't worry about starting, closing, coming in relief, being a spot starter. Just worry about when the opportunity is given to go do your job and get a zero and help the team, win." And so I kind of took that and ran with it. And so then what happened was when I got to college and they were starting to push me and make me more as like a starter role, he would just give me goals to hit, and then I'd just go out and try to achieve those goals. And the more efficient I can do them, that's what I was trying to build on each week.
Yeah, it jumped in right away, and I mean, I don't know. Statistically, maybe you could call that even your best year. Um, from a physicality standpoint or from a stuff standpoint, how would you say what was your biggest adjustment that you personally made going from freshman to sophomore to this junior season? I mean, are you adding pitches, subtracting pitches, just maybe understanding your makeup different? I mean, what were the changes in your head?
Yeah, well, so I think as I grew older, I think it started off my freshman year and it continued was just building the mental game of baseball as a pitcher and, being able to separate, the field and off the field and making sure those 3-4 hours that you get on the field and even that 30 minutes of throwing is as intentional as possible is to build you up for the game. So I think that was one of the big starters for it. But yeah, I think the mental game was one. I think the slider as I got progressed, I made more and more adjustments to it. Where about this year, I had the most one of the most successes with it. I felt within the previous 2 years. My changeup was always kind of there for me. For all 3 years, and I felt like my heater command got better as the years went along, with adding a sinker on that, so I could get in on guys' hands and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it's a whole process and understanding, that it isn't just a one game by one game thing. If anyone's listening, please feel free. If you're listening on Twins Daily, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook Live, please feel free to ask questions or as Jacob did, send in your congratulations as well. I don't know about big leagues soon, but we can always hope and that's the thing about the baseball draft is, I mean, some guys get up within a couple of years and some guys take 4 or 5 years. You just don't know. So that's kind of the fun of it in some ways. Let's talk a little bit. We talked about the draft itself. Now I'm kind of curious, and I told you beforehand that I'm not trying to put you in trouble. So I'm not going to ask you if you've signed and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
What are some of the factors in your head that go into whether you go back for a 4th year at Elon or whether you sign a major with a major league organization? In your mind, are you at this point a pro ball player, or I guess where do you stand on that?
For me personally, I mean, I've always wanted the opportunity to, go chase my dreams and play in the major leagues. And I feel like this was the stepping stone to get there. So when I got the opportunity, I was going to want to continue that. So that's kind of how I made my decision for it. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing. I think just wanting to achieve my goals and keep playing at the highest level. I think, once I got that opportunity, I was going to take it. So that's kind of where my head was at.
So I do want to bring up Twins Daily real quick and encourage those that are watching this. If you go to Twins Daily, now let me navigate here, but there's different ways to do it. But right now, obviously, there's topics on the second half, the trade deadline, some draft things as well. But if you go, now I can't find it, of course. we've got the draft tracker right underneath these initial pictures. It's you can view the draft tracker here, or you can go up here and go to draft resources and 2025 Twins draft board. And on that page, you'll be able to see all of the Twins picks from this year. All the way here at the 8th and 9th round, you've got the two Elon guys, Ryan Sprock and Justin Mitrovich, our guest here tonight. Hopefully we'll get some more scouting reports and learn more about these guys. But be sure to check that out if you get a chance. For those watching, keep up with the signings and things like that as we go here. There's our quick little our shameless self-promotion there for a second. But, we do take a lot of pride in how much we like to cover the draft and again, get to know these players. So what would you say are some of, if one or two of the things that you kind of are most looking forward to about a career in baseball? Whether it's, learning another pitch or learning more about the technology or analytics side of the game, or is it just, the facilities, meeting people from around the world? There's really a lot of interesting things about going to pro baseball.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the constant knowledge and improving that you're going to work day in and day out to make you the best player. And I feel like that part is very intriguing. So then once you get to that big league level, you can make an immediate impact and help your team win and make championships and win championships. And I think that's where my head kind of stems. And so I think the biggest thing for me personally is the knowledge that you gain from all this information and the facilities and the coaches, and kind of be able to make it so, you're formulating a plan together and you're, building up and getting to that big league level and making an immediate impact.
Absolutely. Now, before we go further, are there people in the Twins organization that you maybe know or have played against? You mentioned you're obviously roommates and teammates with Ryan Sprock, who's in your same shoes right now. Callan Fang from high school. But are there others maybe in the organization that you've maybe played in the Cape with, or, in tournaments or showcases or things like that?
So I played against Merrick Houston because we play Wake twice a year. So I've played against him. Okay. I haven't played against the other players, but I don't know anyone personally from the Twins org. It's funny because the team I played with in the summer, a good amount of them got drafted, and they're all just in separate teams, which is great for them. I'm happy for them, but I would say I would know them, but it's not in the same organization.
Understood. And then as it kind of going back to draft and pre-draft, what was your contact level with, I know Ty Dawson is the area scout for the Twins in North Carolina and in that area. He's signed a lot of guys over the last few years, and obviously has a very good eye for pitching, hitting, everything. But I guess, what was your level of contact with the Twins, and were you surprised maybe that they were the team that ultimately did sign you?
I feel like it's going to be a surprise with no matter what team picks you, because it's just such a hectic time during it. But I did definitely have some contact with them. I had a couple conversations with Tyrone beginning of the season and then a little bit afterwards. So I definitely have talked to them. But yeah, like I said, whenever I see him, or saw him at games afterwards, I always make sure to say hi and kind of just keep on a nice page level kind of thing. So
I'm kind of jumping all over here, but that's kind of how these things end up. I try to have a few ideas, and then it just kind of goes where it goes. What was your Cape Cod League experience, and how did that get you ready for not only your junior year, but potentially for pro ball?
Well, the thing about the Cape is obviously it's beautiful and it's a vacation spot for families. So that's an absolute bonus, to start off. And the summer league is fantastic. It's the best in college baseball. And, it was an absolute pleasure playing with all those people there and being around the coaching staff and being around that area. My host family was great. Everyone I met there was great. So the whole experience of the Cape for me personally was fantastic. From a playing standpoint, it was really nice going in to every game and it's the top competition, so you're going in, you got to be on top of your game every single time, which you already have to be no matter what, but it just adds a little extra pressure, which is always a good thing. And so that was really a really cool experience, facing the top players in the class, and facing all these really good players just throughout the world.
What were your thoughts on the MLB Combine? I know they've only done it for, say, 3 years or so, I think. But what was your experience there? And do you think that helped your case, or did anything for or against it?
Well, I'm not sure if it, helped or hurt my case necessarily, but I will say from the overall experience, it was fantastic. They set it up really nicely, very well organized. I had like nothing. I can't say anything bad about the place. It was just, really good experience. The place was awesome, and they did a really good job overall with the food, scheduling, and the schedule was kind of packed, so it was. Some days were busier than others, but I thought that it was just like a really good job overall, and I had a good time there as well.
So the Twins organization, even going back 7-8 years ago, was kind of known for being a little bit slow to the analytics, to the technology. But over the last, say, 6 or 7 years, I mean, I think now they're considered one of the teams that uses and utilizes those things as much as anybody. So what's your familiarity in terms of maybe at Elon or other places that you've played with the technology, and then with the analytics, and how you've been able to use that so far?
Yeah, so I wasn't really introduced to it until my sophomore year of college. But then when I was introduced to it, I definitely took the time to learn it and understand each component of, the analytic part, so I could, further my game. I don't think it's the end all be all when it comes to, it's competing, getting the job done, but I do think it is a tool that it will help you grow as a player, that you can have more success, lead to more success. So I think it definitely is good to know the base level, and then surround yourself with people who know better than you, so you can learn from them, and then help you, continue your career in that aspect, and use that tool to help you out.
Did I read that you're a math major, or a math was one of your interests or
Yeah,
something?
I am a math major.
Okay. Do you have, I guess, how many, do you have much time left as far as credits to finish up at Elon? Is that something you're going to want to do educationally?
Yeah, I definitely have some more, and I'm also looking into maybe a master's after the fact. I'd always like master in business, would always be something that interests me. But I did math. I liked it, and I kind of picked it up. And so I was like, you know what, this is interesting me, because I was originally computer science, and then I kind of just fell in kind of more in the math realm, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to do math. And kept continuing with it.
I was a math major myself until I got to like differential equations, and
Oh
I
yeah.
was very, very thankful that the professor gave me a C. And then
Yeah.
I got to real analysis, and you're
Yeah.
proving proofs and stuff like that. And I'm like, why do I need to know this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm impressed there. So, but do you think that's where you kind of have your interest in the analytics side? I mean, are you one of those guys? I kind of am, and I didn't get through the major. I like looking at the numbers, and then not only trying to figure out what they're telling me, but what is actionable. Is that the right word? Actionable about using those. How do you take it from a stat sheet to actually on the mound? Is that something that you feel you're in a good place for now, or is that one of the things you're really hoping, maybe even this summer, to kind of get a first-hand look at?
Well, I think I'm definitely at least the base level of it. It's hard to gauge with how other people are with it in comparison to myself. But I definitely have a good understanding of it. But it's still a tool, and I'm still going to develop that, and to help me out later down the road, and work on new stuff, and develop my pitches to help me perform better. And so I think just learning more about it, like I said, with surrounding people who know and do that for a living, and taking their knowledge and be able to apply it, that sort of thing. So I think it'll be a really cool experience, and being able to work with everyone.
I guess I've noticed in the last 6 years, a lot of the guys the Twins draft, some of the hitters get going in Fort Myers or even Cedar Rapids. Wouldn't surprise me if Houston ends up at Cedar Rapids or something. But for pitchers, it's also, you don't see them pitch a lot, maybe a couple innings in the FCL, possibly in Fort Myers, depending on how you're doing. And it's all based on innings and things like that. Should you sign, do you feel like it'd be important for you to just kind of get into the system and go through all of their expectations as far as analytics, as far as education, as far as bullpens and nutrition and workouts and things like that? Or how much would it mean to you to just get a few innings under your belt yet this summer?
I actually just think, it's working out with the organization to see what fits best for me. And, I'm pretty easygoing. So, if they want me to build up and, finish out a couple innings here, perfectly fine. If they want me to work out the complex and build up and get a baseline and, be around everyone more, it's fine too. So I think it's really just developing that plan and communicating with the organization to develop what they want me to do for this remainder of the season.
We're getting down to the last few questions here. I apologize for keeping you long, but
no
I am
problem.
curious. You're a pitcher. What are your pitches? You mentioned the changeup earlier, and I've read some that's kind of maybe your, I guess, best pitch. But tell me what pitches you're throwing now, and if let's just say you're facing Wake Forest, you've got a top hitter up and 2 outs in the 9th, or a bases loaded situation. Maybe where are you comfortable right now?
Yeah, so my pitches are, I throw a 4-seam fastball. I throw a 2-seam / sinker, and then I throw a changeup and slider. So normal kind of mix, nothing too crazy. And in a bases loaded situation, 3-2, 2 outs, I'm probably going to my changeup. It's my best pitch, and I have the best command with it, I feel personally, with it.
Does that drop or tail in on a right-hander, or does it pretty just? Do you feel good about like tunneling and where
I'd say it drops and tails at the same time. It's like a little bit of both. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So who are some of the people in your life that have really kind of helped you get to this position? I know that's not a fair question. You've talked about your coaches, and I'm sure there's others, but are there a few more maybe that you just want to kind of throw out there as people that have been pretty significant in the path here?
Well, I think definitely my parents. Start off with them. Obviously, they sacrificed a lot for me to, play the game I play, and they've been nothing but supportive for me since I started playing. So, definitely that's a big part of it. And then I think also my brother from the education side, harping on me to, constantly grow on the other side and the flip side of sports. And I think the combination of two of them has really, pushed me forward. And I think, obviously the coaches, it starts from 14, 12U, 10U, it's all the way up now to college and pro level, So I think it's all of them and the family combined, I think is really what stands out.
For sure. I always feel like sometimes the dads get all the credit, and it's the moms that are the emotional support system and the ones that drive all over the place and spend a ton of money and all that stuff. Did you play on any of the like national circuit, the perfect games, the area code games, things like that?
I played a little bit of the national circuit for the Indiana Prospects out when I was 17, I think. Yeah, 17 summer. I went to, Alabama, Georgia, all the big ones. And then I played with another team in Jupiter. So I went out to Jupiter, Florida for that big tournament as well. So I mixed in a little bit on that 17U team. But yeah, that was probably the only time like the national circuit, I would say.
And then the question that you like to ask, again, making you guys people instead of just names and box scores and stat lines. What are some of the things you enjoy doing away from the game? You got to get away from it here and there, either on an off day or in an off season. What are you looking forward to being able to do during those times? And I know you mentioned golf, and I'm guessing that'll become maybe even bigger going forward. But what are the things you enjoy doing?
Well, I started off with traveling. I like traveling. I like going to different places. I always like exploring, kind of hiking, seeing nice views. I do a lot of reading in my free time, just to kind of grow, a little bit every single day. Golf, as I mentioned, a lot of fun. You're out there for 4 hours, 5 hours, maybe. 5 hours be pushing it, but you're out there for a good bit of time.
Yeah.
It's open air, hanging out with everyone, having a good time. And then I learned to play pool a little bit too this
Oh,
past year. So I like playing pool. And then from like investing, I like learning about investing and all that stuff. So I
okay.
kind of spend my time doing that as well.
Well, hopefully with any signing bonus, you invest it wisely. Although you should buy yourself at least one little thing, whether it's a $200,000 car or a 50 cent like token or something like
Yeah.
that. You got to get yourself something.
Yeah. I haven't
No,
thought
that's great.
about it, but yeah.
I have you done some traveling, whether family or other? Or there's someplace you'd tell everybody they need to visit?
I would say Utah if you're in the States. I
Okay.
went there this past fall break with my two of my friends, or my one of my roommate and one of my teammates. Um, and we had a great time. We just visited national parks, and it was just super pretty and like a really cool experience. Just a lot of hiking, and kind of going down the strip from Arches to Zion. And it was really cool. It was a really cool experience, and like I highly recommend going out to Utah.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks again for doing this. I really appreciate it. Second, again, congratulations. Just getting drafted is awesome. And then starting that career as a pro ball player, heading to Fort Myers, little FCL, little Mighty Muscles, and then Cedar Rapids and Wichita, and then up to St. Paul, and then hopefully Minneapolis. And hopefully you get a little traveling in those different places going forward. But again, congratulations. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for letting us get a chance to get to know you a little bit.
Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you again for everything.
All right. And to those others listening, hopefully we'll get a few more 2025 draft picks to get to know a little bit here. And maybe we can have Justin do a little recruiting for us or something. But anyway, thanks for watching, and check back, head to Twins Daily for much more. Have a great day, and go Twins.